Welcome and thank you so much for joining us. This is Barrie Wrestling's year-end awards for 2022. I am Mike Jeffries. This is Diamond Jim Lowe. You know us as the commentary team for Barrie Wrestling, but tonight we are your hosts for Barrie Wrestling's year-end awards. And Diamond Jim, I am so excited for this show. For the first time, we're doing a proper award show here for Barrie Wrestling.
I'm pumped too, Mike. 2022 was the greatest year in Barrie Wrestling history. We had unbelievable matches, incredible crowds, and the talent in Barrie Wrestling has never been higher than it is now. It is so exciting to recognize the men and women of Barrie Wrestling with a proper awards show.
Absolutely. And for those of you who have never seen this before, we do have 5 categories. So it's going to be most hated, most loved, OMG moment, wrestler of the year, and then match of the year. And our 5 nominees for match of the year, Diamond Jim, they were incredible.
Absolute bangers. We're going to be showing you the highlights throughout the night. But if you like these matches and you weren't one of our live fans in attendance for them, Mike, tell them how they can go and watch the entire match.
So there's IWTV, that's Internet Wrestling Television. There's an app or a website. You go on there, you sign up, use the code Barrie400, let them know that we sent you, and you can check out not just those matches, but all of our matches, and matches, honestly, from our wrestlers have wrestled all over the country, all over the world. You can check their matches out everywhere else as well.
No, just watch the Barrie.
Be sure to watch ours. And we're going to start the show off with highlights from one of those Match of the Year nominees, an incredible battle between Von Vertigo and Tarek, one of the hardest hitting matches we had all year.
I can't believe that either guy was able to walk out of the match under their own power. Check this out. Unbelievable. Tarek showing up to accept an impromptu Von Vertigo invitational in November of 2022. What a match.
It was absolutely incredible. And yes, Von Vertigo was supposed to face off against the Wild Boar. Unfortunately, unable to compete due to injury. Tarek stepped up and they tore the house down. So you can check that out on our November show on IWTV. You can see that match and all of the others from that show. And now we're going to get into our first award.
Awesome.
And our first award is for Most Hated Wrestler. We're going to throw the nominees up on the screen there for you. They are Mark Wheeler, the Golden Gun, Indestructible Evan Greenway, Clay Wilson, Relentless John Atlas, and the tandem of Kyle Boone and Shiloh. And Diamond Jim, what do you think about these wonderful nominees?
Well, these are 5 wrestlers. I mean, 6 if you count the Queen of the Harpies, Shiloh, who our fans absolutely love to hate. But these guys are so detestable, they can't even get along with each other. They hate each other, too.
That's true. We had a 5-on-5 elimination match at that November show where those 5 were a team together. The loudest booing I have ever heard in Barrie Wrestling, and they fought amongst themselves.
They're all really hateable. But who won?
Well, in this category, we did have last year's winner, Clay Wilson, and in one of the, if not the biggest landslide vote we've ever had for any award, the winner once again is Clay Wilson. He's deserving.
Yeah.
He did send us an acceptance speech.
We don't need to show that.
We were told we have to show all of them.
We don't need to show it.
Some people might want to watch it.
I'm pretty sure there's no one out there who wants to see Clay Wilson's acceptance speech.
I mean, Clay probably wants to. All right, we're gonna show the video. Just you can watch it. Here's Clay Wilson.
Barrie Wrestling, it's so good to be here at this award ceremony. You know, clearly I'm dressed for the occasion, just the 9s, looking perfect as always. Some awards, it's unbelievable that they actually have an award ceremony. And there's a few awards that I like to, be considered for. Best OMG moment of the year, best wrestler. But one thing that I did win, unfortunately, I'm now a 2-time most hated wrestler in Barrie. Great. Out of all the things that I love doing in Barrie is leaving the place because I can't stand anyone. And it's also funny that the birds fly upside down because there's not worth anything crapping on Barrie. So thank you, Barrie Wrestling fans, for voting me in a 2-time most hated wrestler.
Well, that's a minute of my life I will never, ever, ever get back.
Yeah, that's thanks Clay for your
He's such a jerk.
your words.
He really is.
But
He just sucks.
anyway, on with the show, thankfully. And our next match of the year nominee that we're going to show you the highlights for, it was one of the hardest matches we've ever had to call or to watch. Reverso in his first title defense against Alexia Nicole. Let's talk about the match, Jim.
Yeah, so Reverso shocked the wrestling world by winning the Barrie Wrestling Heavyweight title at Back to School 8, and he wasn't even under contract to Barrie Wrestling, so he was able to pick and choose his opponents. For his first title defense, he picked Alexia Nicole because he knew of her relationship, her friendship with Gabriel Fuerza. You know, their careers have been intertwined for a decade, and, well, we can see what happened.
Yeah, here are the highlights from Alexia Nicole against Reverso.
As you said, Mike, tough match to watch, but that was professional wrestling at its finest. Two of the very best going toe-to-toe, Reverso coming out with the victory.
And I mean, one of the most unique matches we've ever had as well. And just, you got to watch the full thing on IWTV. I'm not just overselling it. You really do have to watch that full match. But now we're going to talk about our most popular, our most loved Wrestler of the Year award. You can put the nominees on the screen for you there. Our 5 nominees are Alexia Nicole, who we just saw in that match, Puff's tag team partner, Pretty Ricky, Gabriel Fuerza, and the hometown hero, Van Landen. Jim, 5 incredibly popular talents. Talk about the category.
Yeah, well, Gabriel Fuerza, of course, was champion for a long part of the year. And, he started actually warming up to the fans in Barrie. Doesn't want to have anything to do with their kids or slap any hands or anything, but it's almost like he started to like us. And the fans really started to like him. Alexia Nicole, we just saw her heart and spirit in that last match. She goes out there and she inspires the fans with her battling spirit. Puff and Pretty Ricky, I mean, there aren't two larger-than-life characters bigger than Puff and Pretty Ricky, and the fans adore them. But this year's winner for most popular wrestler,
the hometown hero himself,
Van Landen. Do it right, Mike. Come
what
on.
he said. And Van Landen, hopefully a nicer award speech than what we got from Clay Wilson. I'm assuming.
That's a low bar you're setting.
I'm assuming, but
come on, the high-octane hometown hero. Talk to your fans, baby.
What's going on, Barrie Wrestling fans? It's your boy, the bar burner, Van Landen. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for voting for me to be Barrie Wrestling's most popular star of 2022. It was a big year with a lot of big matchups, but I am most excited to see where things continue to go for Van Landen and for Barrie Wrestling. And fans, we're on this ride together, so gear up because things are only getting crazier. Yeah!
If you had any doubt as to why the Barrie Wrestling fans love Van Landen, I'm pretty sure that the energy level of that acceptance speech answered the question for you.
the high-octane superstar Van Landen.
The high-octane hometown hero, Van Landen.
My apologies, Van Landen, but
I got your back, kid.
he's always 100 miles an hour. The fans love him. He also would probably win for wettest hair in Barrie Wrestling. I mean, between him and you.
And he represents Team LTD. Got your back.
Get that sponsorship money. And speaking of Van Landen, he was part of our next Match of the Year nominee, the incredible 5-way championship match between Van Landen, Kyle Boone, Jesse V, Evan Greenaway, and the champion at the time, Gabriel Fuerza.
We've never had a 5-way title match in Barrie Wrestling up until 2022. I honestly didn't know what to expect because sometimes you see these big multi-wrestler matches and they're just a mess. This was the opposite of a mess. Personally, one of the best matches I've ever seen live.
It was absolutely incredible. Very difficult match to call because there was just so much action going on. The crowd got into it. Gabriel Fuerza, well, I won't spoil the ending for you. you can check out the highlights right now.
What did I tell you, Mike? An unbelievable match. I thought that one might win match of the year. It was sensational.
It was definitely a leading candidate when it happened, which was in June. It was our June show. So we'd only been back from COVID for a couple of months, and that was an absolute treat for the fans. The highlights do not do it justice. And it had some big moments in that match. Moments that might make you say, OMG. But no moments from that match were nominated for this.
That's what we call a segue.
I'm working. I am earning my money from this show.
Not really.
So, the OMG moment of the year, here are the 5 nominees. Reverso defeating Gabriel Fuerza for the Barrie Wrestling Championship. Holden Albright attacking Van Landen. In her debut match, Taylor Rising defeating Alexia Nicole. Kyle Boone cashing in the Kempenfest Cup to win the Barrie Wrestling Championship off of Jody Threat, who, in our final nominee, had just won the Barrie Wrestling Championship off of Reverso. 5 incredible moments that really shaped the landscape of Barrie Wrestling in 2022. Jim, what do you think about that list?
You could go with any one of those and you wouldn't be wrong because they were all shocking. Holden Albright was coming off so much goodwill and love from the Barrie fans, and he turned on our most popular wrestler, Van Landen, in a vicious assault. It was shocking. Taylor Rising, in her Barrie Wrestling debut, knocking off former women's champion Alexia Nicole, one of the most successful wrestlers in Barrie. Rising, of course, would go on to win the women's championship later in the year. And then not 1, not 2, but 3 heavyweight title changes on that list. Any one of them, was shocking. But the big moment, it was history, really. Jody Threat becoming the first woman to win the Barrie Wrestling Heavyweight Championship.
Jody Threat, now also a Triple Crown winner. She has been the 400 North Tag Team Champion, or at least defended the title in a match. She's been our women's champion, and then she was briefly the Barrie Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. An absolute jewel in her crown that she deserves. She's been such an important factor in Barrie Wrestling for many, many years. What more can you say about Jody Threat?
I can say one more thing. When Jody Threat gets a chance at revenge on Kyle Boone in Shiloh, it ain't gonna be pretty.
I hope that happens. I hope it happens so badly. I just want to see. But
you're supposed to be the neutral, unbiased guy.
I'm a Jody Threat fan. What can I say? And I mean, does anybody like Kyle and Shiloh?
Kyle and Shiloh like Kyle and Shiloh.
That is fair. But anyways, Jody Threat, winner of the OMG Moment of the Year. Let's hear from our winner.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank my family, my friends, all my wrestling training partners, baby Jesus, and of course, none other than Dodger. Because I was voted the oh my God moment of 2022. That's right. My victory winning the Barrie Championship was the OMG moment of 2022. So thank you for voting that. Now, I know my reign was only about, 92 seconds. I was still the first woman to win that championship. So thank you, it means a lot to me. And Kylo, don't get too comfortable because I do still live in Canada and I will show up when you least expect it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jody Threat, winner of the OMG Moment of the Year for 2022. And that moment was her beating Reverso for the Barrie Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Our next Match of the Year nominee is actually when Reverso won the title, when he defeated Gabriel Fuerza.
Do you hear that?
I hear something. Where is that?
It sounds like Rage.
Why is Rage Against the Machine play? Where is that coming from?
Unbelievable, really unbelievable. We won the tag team championships, and now we're the freaking tag team of the year. We won the trophy. We won the trophy. I'm going to put it here on my mantle. Ricky, what do you think about that?
It's an incredible trophy. I'm flabbergasted. I'm exacerbated. I'm shocked, stunned, and impressed with ourselves, Puff. We did it.
Barrie, when we come back in January, heads are going to freaking roll. We're taking over. We're taking over. We got the titles now. We get to do whatever the hell we want. Oh, yeah. It's going to be like the freaking adult tour. Come on, baby.
We're gonna be ripping them, flipping them, stripping them, tripping them. These kids don't know what they got coming to them.
The greatest and best tag team champions that Barrie, Ontario has ever freaking seen.
As I was saying, our next match of the year nominee is Reverso defeating Gabriel Fuerza for the Barrie Wrestling Championship in probably the biggest upset in the history of Barrie Wrestling.
Sure. Let's go to the match.
Check out the highlights of Reverso against Gabriel Fuerza. Yeah.
What an incredible match. Mike, Reverso felt that Gabriel Fuerza had taken away his identity, taken away everything that mattered to him in his life, and he spent a year seething, a year waiting, and a year plotting. He had a plan. He walked into Barrie Wrestling, and he executed that plan to perfection and really changed Barrie Wrestling history.
It shook the foundation of Barrie Wrestling to its core, and the stunned silence at the end of that match from the crowd, we've never heard anything like that before, especially for a championship title change. Really an incredible match. The highlights don't do it justice. You got to head to IWTV.
What's the code, Mike?
Code is Barrie400. Use that. Let them know we sent you. You can check out that match, all of our Match of the Year nominees, all of our shows from this year. Learn a little bit more about our nominees and why they're so great and why this year has been so incredible for Barrie Wrestling. And we're going to pivot a little bit. Diamond Jim, I understand you have a new award for this year that you're going to be handing out.
Well, that's right, because the greatest year in Barrie Wrestling history deserves a new award. And, the best award that we can give someone is to name them a pure diamond. And, we joke a bit about that. But in all seriousness, I was chatting with Barrie Wrestling owner Sean Gibson. And, we wanted an award that captured the impact that an individual has on Barrie Wrestling. They really identifies the person who defined the year. And, when I think of 8 years of Barrie Wrestling, every year has got a wrestler that defines that year. If I think of 2015, I think of Lionel Knight chasing the Three Pistols title. If I think of 2017, Gabriel Fuerza becomes the Mr. Everything of Barrie Wrestling. 2019, Von Vertigo completes his journey, fulfills his destiny by making a legend tap out in the middle of the ring to become Barrie Wrestling champion. 2021, Mark Wheeler leads Barrie Wrestling out of the pandemic, bigger, stronger, faster, smarter, absolutely blowing through the competition as our champion in those so important return shows. And, we can't recognize those past accomplishments, but we can start with 2022. And I'll tell you, our winner is so deserving.
And who is the inaugural winner of the Pure Diamond Award?
Mike, the wrestler that had the single biggest impact on Barrie Wrestling in 2022, that defined the year in Barrie Wrestling, the Bionic Princess, Alexia Nicole.
I cannot think of a better choice. Alexia competed at every Barrie Wrestling show, had a great win-loss record, put on an incredible performance every time she competed, was beloved by the fans, was integral to just so many different stories that we had throughout the year. But what put her over the top for you?
So Alexia Nicole finished 2021 by betraying her client, Mark Wheeler, and it turned out that was all part of a plan. She was ready to return to active competition, and it guaranteed her a title shot against Gabriel Fuerza. She competed in some amazing title matches, and then heading into Kempenfest, our first huge weekend at Kempenfest in Barrie, Alexia Nicole defeated the Barrie Wrestling Three Pistols champion, the PCW UK Cruiserweight champion, the Barrie Wrestling Heavyweight champion, and she did that in a 24-hour period. No one has ever had a weekend like Alexia Nicole had at Kempenfest. And then, only a month later, she was in a fatal four-way against Mark Wheeler, Jesse V, and the longest reigning champion in Impact Wrestling history, Josh Alexander. And do you know who won that match, Mike?
Was it Josh?
It was not Josh. It was our Pure Diamond winner, Alexia Nicole. She defined the year of 2022. Congratulations, Alexia.
A very, very deserving winner. And we do still have 2 more awards to announce. We have our Match of the Year and Wrestler of the Year to get to. But before we get to that, we have to talk about, I want to talk about, it's not a have to, we want to talk about the most important, most emotional match that we had all year at Barrie Wrestling. It was Brendan Caulfield, better known to many people as Holden Albright, when he took on Ben Ortmans. Let's take a look.
Hailing from North York, Ontario, and weighing 270 pounds, Brendan William Caulfield.
We've never seen him up there, except for earlier. Moonsault from Brendan Caulfield, and the cover, and the 3. There's a standing ovation here in Barrie. I'm just going to let the scene speak. So for those of you not aware, about a week before that match happened, Brendan lost his father, Arthur Caulfield, and Barrie Wrestling Management had said, take the weekend off, don't come and wrestle. And he insisted not only on wrestling, but he wanted to specifically wrestle Ben Ortmans. And Brendan said that was his therapy. And Jim, just talk about that moment in that match.
I mean, we've been doing this for 8 years, and there have been lots of emotional moments. I remember when Blackwood and Garcia came back after their tragic car accident. When John Atlas returned after successfully defeating cancer. The other end of the spectrum, Tid's last ride. But I don't think I've ever been part of something as emotional and raw as that match. Brendan Holden, he's a very important person to us in Barrie Wrestling, right from the owner to the cronies to the film crew, and for him to allow us to be part of his grieving process, was something. And then Ben, to be that guy who's there for him, to help him work out the shock and the grief and the rage he was facing. I felt honored to stand in the ring with those two men, and as I said, it was one of the most genuinely impactful moments I've ever been part of.
If I do this for another 50 years, I'll never forget that match. Probably the most important match you and I have had the pleasure of calling, and something that, unfortunately, because Garth Brooks is a little bit strict on what we can show, we'll never be able to show the full entrance or exit of Brendan. But he came out wearing his dad's hat and his dad's jacket, and when he left, he hugged basically every single person that he could get his hands on, including you and I. And it was such an important match for Barrie Wrestling, and honored is the right word. I was honored to have been a part of it. And Brendan, thank you for letting us be a part of that and for everything you've meant to Barrie Wrestling.
Hello, Barrie Wrestling. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you very much for this honor that you have bestowed upon myself and Holden Albright of naming our match the most important moment in Barrie Wrestling, as voted by the Barrie Wrestling family. Obviously, that's going to mean a lot when it's coming from the Barrie Wrestling family itself. And that makes me happy because obviously that piece of art that myself and Holden Albright created that night was special, and it meant a lot to us. And so I'm glad that it meant a lot to you guys. The competitor in me thinks that it was the match of the year, but I definitely think that this is the next coolest thing, maybe even cooler acknowledgement that we could possibly get for this. I just wanted to say thank you to Barrie Wrestling. I wanted to say thank you to Holden Albright for choosing me and for allowing me to be a part of that moment. We definitely left pieces of ourselves out there that night. I know I can speak for myself when I can say I left pieces of my health out there that night that I don't know if I'm ever going to get back. And I would do it all over again because I love Holden Albright. I love Barrie Wrestling. And I love what I do more than anything on this earth. I love pro wrestling. And I promise you one thing, Barrie Wrestling. You haven't seen the last of me. I will see you again in 2023. Thank you.
Hi, Brendan Caulfield here. Because I am pro wrestler Holden Albright, but you see Walter in the corner there. But I am overwhelmed with gratitude and appreciation to specifically Sean Gibson and Ben Ortmans for allowing me to wrestle on a day I probably shouldn't have, but I needed. I literally told Sean and Ben, they told me to take the day off, stay away, but the people in the back, the staff, the wrestlers are my family. The fans got to share that moment with me, and I'm thankful for that. But I really need to beat the crap out of Ben Ortmans and have Ben beat the crap out of me. So thank you guys so much for this opportunity to have that match. The only match Brendan Caulfield has wrestled. Thank you.
We have got 2 awards left. We're going to close with Wrestler of the Year, so stay tuned for that. But up next, we have our final nominee for Match of the Year. We're going to put all the nominees back up on the screen for you so you can take a look. They are the 5-way match between Jesse V, Evan Greenway, Gabriel Fuerza, Kyle Boone, and Van Landen. Gabriel Fuerza taking on Reverso. Tarek versus Von Vertigo. Reverso versus Alexia Nicole. And
The winner is
Myung Jae Lee versus unkillable Kevin Blackwood from our December show. 2 Buffalo brothers beating the tar out of each other. Check out the highlights.
Barrie Wrestling, Kevin Blackwood here in the front seat of my car doing the much maligned front seat of the car selfie promo. I'm even doing it in portrait orientation versus landscape because I think it'll make Myung Jae Lee mad. I've heard that Myung Jae and I won best match of the year for Barrie Wrestling. I just want to say thank you to everybody that watched and voted and thought it was cool. I had a good time being back at Barrie. Maybe I'll be back soon, but probably not because Sean Gibson's a pain in my ass. I'm just kidding. He's a pain in the ass, but I'll come back. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you all soon.
Hey Barrie Wrestling fans, thank you for selecting my match with Kevin Blackwood for Match of the Year 2022. It was an honor to win this award for my match against Lionel Knight in 2021, and it's an honor this year as well. Kevin has been a great mentor to me ever since I started training, and since then he's become a really good friend. Also, my dad and brother were in the crowd for this one, so the whole match was just very special to me. Thank you to Sean, thank you to the production crew, thank you to everyone involved, and here's to great matches in 2023.
Pick off.
Mike. I mean, what do you even say about a match like that? Buffalo has become a factory for tough, badass wrestlers. You know, we see it in Danny Garcia. We see it in Kevin Blackwood. But Myung Jae Lee may be the best of them all. And you look at how he took Kevin Blackwood to a different level. It was unreal. And this was not, Kevin Blackwood coming in and half-assing it or anything. Kevin Blackwood was in the best shape I've ever seen him. He had a mean streak that we haven't seen before. Kevin Blackwood came to win, but Myung Jae Lee wound up walking out with his title intact.
I just want to add, Puff, you were also one of those tough, badass wrestlers from Barrie. I don't want him mad at us. He's scary.
Puff loves me.
But he
does.
Absolutely.
What are you laughing about?
You are absolutely right. You had everything in this match. You had the
he
student.
He knows my bald head by touch.
You had
He does.
Match of the year.
Puff,
We're gonna
help me
focus
out
on
here.
the match of the year.
Puff, help me out, man.
You had the student versus teacher element. Kevin Blackwood helped train Myung-Jae Lee. You had, as you mentioned, it was hard hitting. I have called Buffalo Graphs Anonymous. It is North American strong style. They left it all in the ring. It was, the fans were split down the middle for who they wanted to come out on top. Jim, there's not enough superlatives to talk about that match. And I think they went on for about 20 minutes. So you're right about Kevin Blackwood being in the best shape of his life. And I think Shelley King-Weiss agrees with you on that one.
Yes, she was a little thirsty that night.
Fans,
if you think he's cracking up now, check out some of our shows on IWTV. What's the code, Mike?
Barrie 400. And yeah, we do laugh. We have a good time. And as we get into our last award for Wrestler of the Year,
because sorry, I'm going to interrupt you as I'm prone to do.
Yes, he is.
If you do one thing this month, go and watch the full match between Blackwood and Myung-Jae Lee. You are going to see two of the best wrestlers on the planet tear each other apart. And, you know, I'm not even sure. We've said Myung-Jae Lee won. It's more he survived. And you need to watch this match. The absolute match of the year for Barrie Wrestling.
It was a no-doubter for me, an incredible matchup. And I'm sad to say, almost we're on to our final award. So this is for the Barrie Wrestling Wrestler of the Year. We had 6 nominees for this category because we couldn't limit it to 5, especially with the year that we've had. Throw them up on the screen for you right now. Our 6 nominees: Alexia Nicole, Gabriel Fuerza, John Atlas, Myung-Jae Lee, Von Vertigo, and Taylor Rising. 6 incredible nominees for Wrestler of the Year. Diamond Jim, who do you want to talk about first?
Well, let's start with the youngest member of the group, the rookie sensation, the standout, Taylor Rising. What a year. I don't know if anyone's ever had a first year in Barrie Wrestling like Taylor Rising. She defeated Alexia Nicole in her debut, and every time we saw her, she was better. Every time we saw her, she had added something to her arsenal, and then she went on to become the Barrie Wrestling Women's Heavyweight Champion, and she's a total package.
Possibly the most physically imposing wrestler we have in the ring, male or female. She can do it all. She's an incredible talent. And speaking of incredible talents, how about John Atlas? Winner of championships, leader of men. He's got Clay Wilson and Evan Greenway beside him now. He's a deserving nominee for this award.
John Atlas started the year as Three Pistols champion. He did lose that title. It was a bit of setback, but like any elite athlete, he took that as a learning opportunity. He went back to the drawing board. He looked at what was missing in his game, and he got back up. John Atlas is a guy who can beat anyone in professional wrestling on his own. Now that he has Clay Wilson and Evan Greenaway at his back, I don't know if anyone's going to stop him.
They are definitely a group to watch out for in 2023. And then the man who beat John Atlas for the Three Pistols title and still continues to hold it, Myung-Jae Lee, also a great nominee for this award. And now the back-to-back Match of the Year award winner. What more can you say about Myung-Jae Lee?
This is a kid who arrived a couple years ago, seemingly out of nowhere. Like we knew he was from Grapplers Anonymous, but his debut was an incredible match. And then he started getting tougher. He started adding some explosiveness to his offense. And now, every time he steps into the ring, he's not the underdog anymore. It doesn't matter if he's giving up height, giving up weight, giving up muscle. He's a guy you cannot put down. And we've seen him beat some of the best in the world, like Tarek and Blackwood.
Absolutely. And then, speaking of champions, Von Vertigo became the first man in Barrie Wrestling history to defend a title from outside Canada in our ring when he brought the PCW UK Cruiserweight Championship into Barrie. What can you say about what Von Vertigo has done for Barrie Wrestling?
Yeah, one of the most talented wrestlers in indie wrestling. He is in high demand in Europe, in England, across Canada, the United States. I mean, he's a perennial contender for Wrestler of the Year in Barrie, and he probably will be for the next 20, 25 years. Heck, you might be as old as I am by the time he's not a nominee in this category.
I don't think he's going to wrestle for another 50 years, but he might get there. Well, our second to last nominee, to put you in a better mood, is your pure diamond pick, Alexia Nicole. An incredible year, and if she were to win this award, would be a very deserving winner.
How awesome would it be to be the very first Pure Diamond Award winner for defining the year in Barrie Wrestling and be voted Wrestler of the Year by her incredible fans? Alexia Nicole, pound for pound, I think she's actually the toughest wrestler in Barrie Wrestling. It's unbelievable. Her strength. She's not a big woman. She's 4'11". Her strength is off the charts. Her wrestling IQ is surpassed by no one. Alexia Nicole is an incredible nominee for this award.
And our final nominee started the year as the Barrie Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, lost it, but then became 400 North Tag Team Champion. I think he's a double, triple crown winner now. He's Mr. Everything in Barrie, the final king of Barrie, Gabriel Fuerza.
He's Mr. Everything squared now. And it's unreal. And the thing that amazes me about Gabriel Fuerza, and this year more than any, is that nothing shakes that man. And Reverso tried to get into his head. And we talked about the success of Reverso's plan, but Gabriel Fuerza just kind of shrugged and went out and won a tag team championship. It is unreal. He, year in and year out, redefines what it means to be at the top of the Barrie Wrestling heap. I'm not sure which of these 6 is going to win. Every one of them has a shot because all 6 of them, incredible talents who had an incredible year of professional wrestling.
It was an awesome year, and this award, like all the others, was voted on by the Barrie Wrestling fans. And your winner for Wrestler of the Year 2022, El Diablo himself, Gabriel Fuerza.
Barrie Wrestling audience, you and I, we've got a bone to pick. See, I know what you guys did. I know. Because Sean Gibson told me. I can't believe you went and did it. You went and did it. You made me the Barrie Wrestling Wrestler of the Year for the 2nd time. And you know what? You know what I say to that? Thank you.
Congratulations to the man they call El Diablo, Gabriel Fuerza. What an incredible year. A very deserving winner, is voted on by the fans. And I can't wait to see what he has in store for Barrie Wrestling in 2023. But we've got a lot in store for the fans coming up this year.
Actually, our next show is January 21st. Everything New is bold again. It is at the FLCC, also known as the Ferris Lane Community Church. Be sure to follow Barrie Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Tout. I don't know, wherever else we are. Von Vertigo uses Tout, he says.
No, he doesn't.
Maybe he was pulling my leg. Anyways, be sure to follow us everywhere. Check us out on IWTV. What's the code?
Everything New is bold. No, that's not the code. I don't know.
Barrie 400 is the code on IWTV. We work great together. We work great together. Thank you so much for joining us for this, the Barrie Wrestling Year-End Awards for 2022. I am Mike Jeffries. This is Diamond Jim Lowe. January 21st, Everything New is bold again. Diamond Jim, what do you say to the people?
You're not going to ask me for some code again, are you?
What do you say to the people, Diamond Jim?
Everything New is bold again. Saturday, January 21st, Ferris Lane Community Church. Don't you dare miss it.